This is a $100,000 real pet shark tank. You literally have to feed them chunks of meat.
And I'm gonna show you how people care for pets like this, along with tons of other prices of aquatic pets, all the way down to a literal $1 pet axolotl. But if you didn't know, axolotls usually cost a lot more than $1. So I'm like worried, is this thing gonna be in bad condition or something? I don't know.
But let's go investigate. So I drove to the seller's house, which thankfully wasn't too far. When I got there, he said he didn't want to be on camera, but he showed me the axolotl tank.
And he told me why they were only $1. Apparently his pet axolotl had way too many babies, and inside of this tank was one of the last babies he hadn't sold yet.
So I quickly scooped it up into a bucket I brought with clean water, packed it in my car, and drove home. All right, I made it.
And I'm a little worried about this axolotl's condition, because it didn't really seem like it was being kept in the best condition. You doing all right, little buddy?
Let me just scoop you up and we can get a closer look at this guy. And unfortunately, my suspicions were correct, because when I took a closer look at the body of this baby axolotl,
I noticed its front right hand was missing. If you look over here, this is what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, I guess this hand must have accidentally got cut off. Because of how fragile baby axolotls are, dang, that actually sucks. We gotta help this guy. And thankfully, I got just the plan.
You see, I've got these things that when we plop into water, they turn into tons of little bloodworms. So these are some of the most nutritious and also delicious foods for a baby axolotl.
So I sort of just made it rain bloodworms on this guy, which you can see he absolutely started to devour up. If you didn't know, axolotls are extremely...
It's amazing in that they are one of the only animals that have the ability to regenerate limbs when they lose them.
And by eating these bloodworms, this guy will now have the nutrients to do that very same thing for his hand. Yo, for $1, this thing might be my favorite pet.
It's so huge. Oh my gosh. And I would learn, apparently this baby axolotl was even cooler than I thought. And in order to see that, I got out this quite a bit larger tank.
And I started to lay down the floor of his new home. Even though our axolotl is so small and just a baby, they grow at a rapid pace.
So in only a few months, this whole tank will be getting used up. And for the decorations, literally, we're just gonna use this big piece of wood.
And a few aquatic plants I had laying around in my garage. Yep, that's it, we're done.
You see, baby axolotls have skin that can scrape super easily.
And since ours is already missing a hand, I just wanted to keep ours super simple till he gets a bit bigger. But oh my gosh, he's so cute, and I think he's ready to go inside.
So I let this baby loose into his brand new home. Instantly, he loved it. And you can just see how much he was swimming around and checking out his new enclosure.
Yep, that's one thing about baby axolotls. They're just way more active than adult axolotls usually are. Wait, I have something fun I want to try.
What if I put some worms near the axolotl's face? Am I able to make it follow the direction of the worms? Wait, he kind of stabilizes. Yep. I kind of just thought it would be funny to make the axolotl follow my tweezers like it was a fishing lure, basically. And surprisingly, he actually followed it for quite a long time.
Up this log, but eventually he got bored and swam away. But yeah, it was kind of fun to lure him around this tank in random directions. And every now and then, I would let him have a big old bite of the worms because he was just so cute to watch eat. Let me know in the comments what I should name this guy.
And if I should make an update video once his hand is healed. But remember, I'm still gonna show what it's like to keep a $100,000 pet shark along with so many other price points of fish.
Next up being $100 pet shrimp. Yeah, you may be thinking, how does a bag of shrimp cost $100? Well, I don't just have one bag or two bags. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bags of shrimp, and we're gonna be able to do some crazy time lapses since we have so many shrimp here.
Yeah, apparently keeping an insane amount of shrimp in the same tank is something lots of people into aquariums do, because shrimp are some of the best cleaners of all time. And they'll just constantly explore around the tank eating any dirt or algae that would make the water dirty. These ones in specific are called cherry shrimp.
Yep, it's a pretty creative name if you ask me. Now, before we get out a piece of steak to feed to these guys and record on a time lapse, let's work our way up
the food scale and start with the shrimp pellets, which I bought these thinking they were shrimp food, but on here it says they're actually for fish. So I'm thinking maybe these are just made out of shrimp. They're not actually for shrimp, but I guess we can still try and see if they'll eat it. Let's just start by dropping in one of the pellets.
Now, immediately after dropping this single shrimp pellet in, one of the nearby shrimp basically pounced onto it. Dang.
I guess these shrimp like eating shrimp because soon after another one also came straight onto it. You can kind of see in this zoomed in footage how they used
their tiny little mouths to break up this little pellet and eat it. But yeah, over the next couple minutes, this single pellet started to get swarmed by.
every single shrimp that saw it. Yeah, started to get pretty crowded, but that's what is so cool about having so many shrimp. They just absolutely decimate any piece of food you give them. Anyways, to feed the shrimp bigger food sources, I've got a way bigger tank. So I think I'm gonna go get some supplies so we can build these guys.
It's a nice little home real quick. So I drove to the store to start shopping. Since we got so many shrimp, I really wanted to spend a ton of time to choose the best decoration.
Some plants. Okay, as you guys know, I usually get my aquatic plants here at Petco, but today I wanna try something different because, oh my gosh, he's got to be getting more expensive. $12 for this. It's literally dead. So instead, I drove across the town to an aquarium store I had never been to. They, of
course, had tons of cool stuff like this arowana, frogs, and even this massive pleco. But of course, they also had
exactly what I was looking for. Ooh, yeah, this actually broke. Damn, it's actually a good deal. I mean, $80 for that big plate in the back. So yeah, I asked the store employees to bag me up and I brought all my supplies home. Since the tank isn't insanely large, it's quite easy to start laying everything down. We start with the aqua soil, which gives the nutrients to the plants, and we cover it in a layer of sand so it won't make the water dirty. Finally, I add around some of the decorations I bought to make this place stand out a bit. But I unfortunately dropped it as I was getting it out of my car. So yeah, it's kind of just in a bunch of pieces now, but I think I can still fit that in there just like that. I mean, yeah, it looks pretty cool. Spongebob, it's under the water, makes sense. Then I added in all those plants I just bought and
fill the thing with water. All right, there we go. And technically this water filter out the back isn't needed since the shrimps kind of clean the water themselves, but it's still recommended,
which is why I have it. But, oh, we do gotta get this bad boy inside. It's a light up air stone, which if you don't know what an air stone is, it's this. Amazing contraption that makes bubbles in the water. And this one lights up, so it's extra special. Oh man, that's actually fire. I'm gonna have to get more of these, I'm not gonna lie.
Anyways, this tank is now finished and ready for all of our little shrimps to go inside. Immediately you can just see how there is constant moving going on. Every single little location in the tank had its own little shrimp life being lived. Now, you'll see I left this little open area right here. Well,
that's for us to test our next 3 food sources. And our next food source is a carrot. But yeah, they're not just gonna eat a raw carrot. It's too hard for their mouths. They can't chew it up.
And that's for us to test our next 3 food sources. And our next food source is a carrot. But yeah, they're not just gonna eat a raw carrot. It's too hard for their mouths. They can't chew it up.
Instead, we gotta soften up the carrot in some boiling water, just like this. And yeah, just let it cook for a couple minutes. And when the carrots are done cooking, we can bring them back to the shrimp. So I
plopped it straight into the tank. Now this time it was completely different than that shrimp pellet because while a couple of the shrimp sort of checked out the carrot a little bit, ultimately none.
None of them really stayed for long enough to eat it. Come on guys, do you not like vegetables or something? Oh well, I guess they don't like carrots. But before we try the steak, I wanna try one more vegetable. Let's do spinach.
Now with this, I also had to boil it quickly and then I put it in the water as well. And yeah guys, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed by the spinach too, because even though
this is so nutritious and Google said the shrimp would eat it, well, they never ate it at all. Bro, come on. I'm just convinced shrimp don't like eating vegetables at all. Yeah, let's get this trash out of here. And let's move on to our final food source, an entire steak. Well, I shouldn't say the entire steak because that would make the water pretty dirty. So
I'm just gonna cut off a little piece, just like that, and well, I'm just gonna put this in. So I put the steak in, and thankfully this time we at
least got a bit of action because after about 10 minutes, you could tell they certainly weren't swarming it, but there was the occasional shrimp going onto the
piece of meat. And it was kind of cool because you could see their microscopic little mouths taking tiny little bites out of the meat. But yeah, I'm not going
to lie, for being in here for 2 hours, it was a bit disappointing that they didn't eat this more. I guess with shrimp, you just want to stick to the boring foods like pellets. But remember, guys, as you get more expensive, the pet fish get harder to feed and crazier. Well, for the next price point, we've got a $1,000 Solar saltwater coral tank you can get. But the thing is, they get extremely expensive extremely fast. That's why instead I'm gonna buy this already set up coral tank for $200 and
subscribe to the channel to watch the next part of this video.